Hey, this is Double R. I wanted to tell you that Anchor by Spotify is a great and easy way to make a podcast with everything you need and all in one place. Anchor has the tools to allow you to record, edit your podcast straight from your phone or your computer. When hosting with Anchor, you can distribute your podcast to all listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Best of all, it's totally free. So go down the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. This is the Let's Roll podcast with your host, Double R. What up, everybody? It's your host at Rose and Mo's, Double R, and this is the Let's Roll podcast. Today, we're going to talk about damn if you do and damn if you don't. In this episode, I talk about we live in a world that every day it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. We're going to talk about that and much more right after this. Let's face it, we live in a world that it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. It goes along the same lines as consequences of your choices, decisions. So, I'm sure that you've all been in a situation where it's, again, it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's if I do this, this is going to happen. And if I don't do this, this is going to happen. And I just feel like the world is that world. There's so many things that you have to stop and think and go, well, if I don't do it, this is going to happen. If I do it, this is going to happen. So what should I do? I think the biggest problem in the world, and I've said it on multiple episodes, is that people don't want to accept their consequence. They don't want to accept, they decide their action without considering the consequence and what it's going to happen. And the most recent thing that everybody knows about is the Will Smith slap heard around the world. Well, he was in a damn if you do and damn if you don't situation. And he recently came out and he apologized and he did this little short video. And one of the questions was, did Jada Pinkett say something to you for you to do what you did? Now, his response was, no, I made that decision on my own. My argument would be, yes, she did, but just not literally. Like, she didn't literally look at him and say, go up there and slap him. No, but she did look at him, and she gave him that look. And in that moment, he's damn if he do, damn if he don't. Because if he decides, which he did, go up on stage and slap Chris Rock, then he's damned because look at all the problems that cost him. He made a choice, and the consequences were, okay, you did this thing that everybody's going to look down on and be upset about, and that's going to cost you all of this thing in your life. Not only make you look stupid and why would you do that? But if he wouldn't have done it, what would his consequences been at home? So we're always in this state in our life that we have to make a decision, and it boils down to, can you accept the consequences that are going to come with your decision? And I think in this country, we have a very hard time doing that. It's, going back to social media and, people making a statement on social media about whatever they're against. And then they don't understand, well, why is everybody giving me a hard time about my opinion about? Well, you made a choice to voice your opinion, but you're not willing to accept the consequences. And I think if you can get to a point where you can accept the consequences, understand that things could happen in a good way or even a bad way, then okay, own it, accept it, and say, yeah, I said it, I meant it, and I'm willing to I'm willing to deal with it. But when you say something that could be in a negative light, and you try to play the victim card after you do it, Like, why am I not allowed to say this? No, you're allowed. You're allowed to say it. You're allowed to act the way you act. You're allowed to do what you do. You are allowed, but you have to accept what comes with it. We bring up all of these issues in the world, especially in the last 2.5 years, because we lived with this pandemic. And early on, we had no vaccines. We had no protection from it. Spread pretty quickly. I've said this before, that as soon as they decided that we needed to pretty much shut down everything, I knew, like, oh man, this world is, I mean, not world, but this country, oh, it's going to have a fit. And they did. And it's funny how one side wants to say, well, I have the right to do what I want, and you can't tell me. And the other side is, in my view, doing what's right, but we both condemn each other. And the circumstances that resulted in people not doing what they should do caused a lot of deaths. And, everybody wants to blame somebody else for the issue instead of looking at themselves and go, well, could I have been part of the problem? Now granted, I'm not saying that people that were in charge, were doing the best job they could. That will always be debatable. Can look at, what they could have done, should have done. Hindsight is 2020. But the question is, were you doing what you were supposed to be doing? Did you make the right decision? Because in that instance, it was damn if you do and damn if you don't. And if you, it's just, I look at life a lot like that, because there's a lot of decisions that we make in this world that, in hindsight, we could look back and go, oh, well, we should have done it differently. Or, oh, we didn't think this all the way through. And that's how you live and learn. It's like telling a kid not to touch something that's hot. And they just look at you and you tell them, don't touch that, it's hot. Don't put your hand on it, it's hot. Well, majority of the time, the kid goes in and touches it. No matter how many times you've told him not to, he's going to do it. Well, he's got to live and learn. If he touches it, he finds out it's hot, burns him, and it hurts him. Well, he will probably not going to do it again, It's like I worked for several people that I would tell them something and like, hey, we need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And they would have their different idea about it. And I learned a long time ago that say what you need to say, tell them what you believe. And if they don't believe it, then they'll learn, You just gotta say, okay, this is how we should do this. And they say, well, no, we can't do it like that, or whatever the opposite of response is. And then majority of the time they come back and go, yeah, we should have done it the way you told us to. So sometimes you got to let people live and learn. You got to let them deal with their consequences. The only problem is there's some people that won't learn from those. So they'll keep going out, doing the same old thing over and over. And that's just, the way it is. So yeah, I will say that we definitely live in a world that's damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's hell, you could break it all the way down to, as a little kid, taking out the garbage. It's, the decision I make, do I take the garbage out or don't take the garbage out? That's probably a bad analogy, but I think you get what I'm saying when, you're putting situations that no matter what your choice is, could be a negative choice. It could be a negative outcome. I've talked about this on my Father's Day episode about how me, my brother, and now even my nephews with my brother, we all have this, and even my mom's in this, we all have this thing, especially when it came to my dad, that we would weigh the consequences of our decisions about, what we were told not to do, or in my case, it was buying a computer. Told me, don't go buy a computer because, we need to put another circuit in your room before you do that. And it was a story I told. But anyway, basically, I had to weigh the consequence. Okay, what's going to happen if I do go buy a computer? I was an adult. He couldn't tell me that I couldn't buy it based on because he had control of my money or anything. I mean, the only thing that he really had control of was to tell me if I could plug him into the wall in the house. But what's going to happen if I do go buy it? I kind of weighed it and went, there's not a whole lot of things that he can really do if I do buy it. So I decided to buy it. So growing up throughout our life, me and my brother and even my mom, we always had to think about, okay, is Dad really going to get mad? And okay, how's he going to get mad? And if we could accept the consequence, then we would just go do whatever. So again, I go back to this. In this country, we have a real problem with people understanding that there is consequences all of their actions. Amber Heard is one that, came out and it was found that she was lying about all the things that she said Johnny Depp did. And at first, everybody was against Johnny Depp. And then when it came out in court that she was lying, and you could tell she was lying, then everything did a 180. And now she's, lost jobs and opportunities. And Johnny Depp has gained all those opportunities that he lost back. Because here's another issue that I have. And let me bring that up or talk about it right after this. Okay, I'm going to talk about how I feel like we are quick to judge and condemn people without hearing or letting the justice system or the process of finding out if somebody really did something or not. Like, as soon as we hear somebody did something, we're pretty quick to jump on it and go, yeah, they did it, without knowing the whole story and all the consequences. And that is a real problem in this country, in that we are quick to judge without hearing everything. But once everything is put out in front of us, then we're like, oh, wait, yeah, either they didn't do it or they did. Like, even with Trump and the things that are going on with him, he lied to this country and he incited violence on the Capitol. I don't care what side of the party you're on, but if you truly will sit back with an open mind and look at all the things that they have presented, this dude did everything. But there's a lot of people that are quick to come to his defense and go, oh, no, he didn't do it. That's the other side trying to do all this BS. No, granted, I'm not going to sit here and say that one side or the other is perfect. That they both have their issues, they both have their problems. But when you can sit back with an open mind and see both sides of the situation and go, nope, he's bad, and he was bad, period. And I know there's going to still be people out there who say that he's the best president that we've ever had, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. That's your opinion. You can think that and take that with you until the day you die. But I'm going to say it like this. I pride myself on trying to look at both sides. I don't look at a situation one-sided. And for me, there was always something that I didn't like about Trump. I don't use the word hate. So I don't hate Trump, but I dislike him and I don't trust him. And I never saw the reason why anybody would vote for him to be president. Now, everybody makes this big deal about, well, he was a TV star. Well, Ronald Reagan was an actor. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was an actor. So it doesn't matter where they come from. It matters on what we perceive as if they could do this job or not. And I'm not saying that everybody has to be a career politician to be president or anything like that. I'm just saying that I'm going to base my opinion on things that they say, things that they've done. I never thought Trump was presidential at all. I think people gravitated towards him because he came across as being so different than what we normally have that they thought that might be a good idea. And he was unapologetic in what he said and stuff. But what that really pointed out to me was this dude is nothing but a bully. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about, institutions and how he, don't get me wrong. I mean, things could change and need to change. Some of the things that this country does and the laws and rules and stuff, some of those need to be looked at and changed. But when you go against something so hard, then it's a problem. Like if you don't respect the position that you have, you just demand people to like you and accept you, then I have a problem with that. So I never really liked Trump from the get-go. Never saw the appeal in him. But that doesn't mean that I automatically like the other person. Joe Biden, yes, I voted for him, but, it is what it is. But basically, when it comes down to it, in life, you're going to have situations that are damn if you do and damn if you don't. You're going to have to accept the consequences that come with that. And you just know that in life, you're going to be in those type of situations. Once again, thank y'all for coming out, listening to the podcast. Keep on supporting. And as always, until next time, let's roll.
Hey, this is Paula, and you're listening to the Let's Roll podcast with host Double R. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Find links in the description below or at theletsrollpodcast.com.